So, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about a tournament. Well, what we're about to do is we're gonna look at some of the games from the over-the-board chess tournament that I played. That was the first chess tournament I played in about 2 years. Actually, the very last tournament that I played before that was 2020, right before the lockdown. It was this team tournament called US Amateur Team. And basically, let me see if I can actually share my screen and show you guys. Okay, 2022 Amateur Team Championship. This is a team tournament. So the way it works is that you form a team. Your average rating has to be less than 2200 USCF. Yeah, it's 5 rounds. And basically the way it works, so this is the South one. And the way it works, it's all the teams are playing each other, right? It's a Swiss system. And the team that has the most points wins. The team qualifies to play in an online tournament that is going to happen between the winners of East, North, West, and South. So the winning team qualifies, okay? I personally love this tournament, okay? Played in it since 2015. I played every single year except for 2021, okay? 2015 formed a team. We lost in the very last round to a team of seniors that won that year. That one was in, where was that tournament? I don't remember where that one was. But usually these are in Florida. Well, the one in 2020 was in North Carolina. But the one in 2016, I don't remember how I did in that one, but I remember in 2017 one, actually the team that I was a part of won that year. So we did qualify, and then we lost our board 1, and yeah, things weren't good. So we didn't do that well in the playoff. But you know, we did win that year. Some tough luck last couple of years. The one in 2020 was in North Carolina. That one was fun, and now it was back in Florida. So started putting together a team, and this is what my team looked like. On our board 1, we have Raha Venkad, who's this kid who's a little shy of 2300. We had me, which was, so Rahav had a rating of 2290. Board 2 was me. Board 3 was Ryan Hamley from Orlando. And board 4 was none other by Ezra. We made it work. One of my viewers, Ezra. And that was our team. Our average rating was 2194. We were the highest team actually in terms of the average rating. So Ezra's rating was, let me stop sharing this. Ezra's rating was 1963. So Rahav Venkad with 2298, me with 2292, Ryan Hamley with 2223, and Ezra with 1963. So that's a strong group. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Considering that the average rating needs to be 2200 and ours was 2194, no, it's pretty good. In the very first round, we got paired against a team that was much weaker than us in terms of the average rating. So I was playing with black in this game, and you know, was this an easy, clean match for us? So, but we'll get into that. So my game, I was playing with black. I was playing against Chloe Min, and I believe her rating was about 1600. So d4, knight f6, c4, c5. Deciding to go for some Benoni. She goes knight f3, takes, and I go g6. Okay, so bishop g5. We got you know, interesting position. I'm doing the fianchetto. Goes knight c3, castle, e3, and go queen a5. Okay, attacking the bishop, you know, maybe I'll get the bishop. Maybe I'll get it early on. She ends up taking, and goes queen a4. This is where I kind of knew that, okay, you know, because this was my first game in 2 years. You know, I was still getting into it. Bishop d3, I go rook f d8, queen c2. So this was the time where I was like, okay, I gotta push now. So I go for it. I go d5, trying to open things up, right? I have the rook on the central file. I have the pair of bishops. My opponent goes c5, attacking the queen. So this is where I knew things are pretty good for me, because I go queen c7. My opponent goes knight c3, go bishop g4. I don't take. But you might think, well, why is this good for black, right? Well, I have the bishops and I have the pressure in the center. So you're gonna see how that's gonna, you know, result in the game. So rook dc1. And here, after some thought, I was like, you know what? Why don't I go d4? Right? I have the bishops. I try to open the position up. I'm getting my rook on the d file. My opponent just moved her rook away, right? Let's open this file. Let's open things up. So takes with the rook. Okay, I decided to take with the rook. I think it's good. I can double up on the d file. I think it would be really good. h3. Played bishop e6. Bishop is solid here. And here, I thought my opponent had all right defense to go, I believe it was queen e4. Things aren't good because I can just take, you know, and white just falls. I think it was after rook d2, and then queen e4. But white just slowly falls, right? In this case, I do have bishop f5. That's right. So it's really hard to find good setup here for white. I believe there were some move ideas. You know, not the hardest game for the first round, but enough to warm me up. Bishop e5 was the last move of the game. That was round 1, okay? So let me reset everything and prepare us for round 2. By the way, in round 1, our team won 4-0. And in round 2, we played an interesting team. And I was very excited for this tour. I was very happy when I saw the pairings because I played no one else but Mr. Swole19, who's a mod on this channel, who's also a streamer. Oh my god, shout out Swole19. Here we go. So I was playing with white, d4, c6, c4, d5. So we going into Slav. Knight f3, knight f6, knight c3. Okay, semi-Slav with e6. I go bishop g5 here. Go bishop e7. So knight e7. And with this particular move order, I end up going queen c2. We actually end up, after castling, takes, we end up transposing into an exchange variation. Let me show you guys how we could have achieved the same position. d4, d5, c4, e6, knight c3, knight f6, takes. Taking with the knight is no good because of e4. So takes, bishop g5, bishop e7, e3, c6, queen c2, or bishop d3. There is a difference. So queen c2 is a little better. Let's go knight d7. Castle alongside. Black goes b5. So here's the thing. I'm going to tell you something about this opening. So the thing is, black goes b5, I go king b1. It's very hard to push here as black because the moment you push b4, you got knight a4. So I'm occupying the c5 square. And if you try to go in a5, which you did in the game, right? I go rook c1. The purpose of that is to push on the c file, control some square. Black goes bishop e6. And this is where white gets a chance to push. So g4. Had this position before in my life, but I always thought that bishop e6, I thought bishop e6 wasn't the best one. I thought bishop d7 was a little bit better. But g4, and black goes knight d7 here. So knight d7, and I went rook g1 here. So computer recommends knight g5 or knight e2, putting the pressure on c6 immediately. And that's kind of the purpose of putting the rook on c1, right? But I was kind of just, you know, let things happen here. I go rook g1, and here I actually thought for a little bit. I remember, because here I thought a couple of things. Okay, the thing is, the bishop moved away, so knight c4 is not as strong. Bishop is stuck defending here. If I ever wanted to trade the queens, in this position I felt pretty comfortable. If I ever wanted to trade the queens, I could do that with queen c5. I decided not to, and I spent some time calculating on these different sacrifices, knight f7 or knight h7. One of the lines that I was calculating was knight h7. King h7 takes. Rook h1, king g7, and I was like, okay, that doesn't work. Calculating knight f7, king takes, take, you know, nothing really works. So I played rook h1. Rook h1 is the move that keeps the pressure, and if queen c5, which is exactly what happened in the game, queen c5, pawn takes, black is slightly better after knight c4. Wow. Well, this happened in the game, except black went knight c8. So black is kind of suffocated, right? Look at it. This. All of their pieces are on the 8th rank. Rook f7 takes, knight e7 was played here, to which I played rook h1. Bring in the second rook. Black goes knight g8. And I thought, okay, rook h8 is a killer. That's it here. I mean, again, all the pieces are on the 8th rank. But knight d7. Black still holds for a move. Knight e6 is played with a check. King moves. g7. So here you actually, you know, there are different things you can do. And you kind of, you know, need to spend a little time here, which is what I did, right? You want to make sure you find the correct response, the most pure way to play this. So rook b8 was played, and here this game is, well, yeah, well, this move, right? Black is kind of, you know, they don't have many moves, right? What move do they make? They can move this knight because you take g8. They almost stalemated. You can go here because you will take, you know, all sorts of threats up in the air. So rook f8 is an interesting move, but I think there you just, you know, got to deal with king b7. Rook e8 kind of holds. Rook e7, double exclamation. Hanging the rook in one move. Attacking black rook on e8 can be taken by two pieces, and both are bad for black. Okay, if knight takes, rook e8 check, has to move away to b7, then you take on e7. Attacking the knight, I mean, the knight is in trouble. King c8, then you go g8. So rook e7, knight e7 was played, rook e8, king b7, rook e7. This is where the game finished. So far, 2 out of 2. I think it's about time we look at game 3 then. So the team is doing good, playing with black, and we were playing against this team who was pretty strong. That was our first strong, really like match that we're like, okay, we gotta focus on this one. So e4, d6, d4, knight f6, knight c3, g6. We go into the perk. Bishop e3. I go c6 here. He goes queen d2. I go b5. He goes bishop d3. I go knight d7. He goes knight f3. So here I spent some time because, you know, debating the move order and some things that I wanted to do here. I end up going e5. So he ends up taking, and he goes h3 here. So am I very familiar with the position? No. Have I had a couple of times in my life? Yes, but I wasn't too familiar with it. And here after h3, I was kind of, you know, trying to figure out, okay, what kind of game I want to play. So I go queen c7, queen c7. White didn't indeed place castle here. So here I have some decisions to make, right? You know, the reason why I play queen c7, I didn't want to go like bishop g7, allow bishop h6. I gotta be careful with a4s. Computer doesn't like this position for black at all, but my opponent did this. Bishop takes, bishop and queen g5. Immediately after I played bishop g7, I saw it. Queen g5, and all of a sudden, my lack of development has caught up with me. The holes that I created in my position, the weaknesses, they've all caught up with me. White is using their active pieces. Feels bad, man. At this point, it feels bad, man. Okay? Try to go for the best, you know, thing here. I go knight h5. White takes queen e5, knight e5. So we have to go for this. And I end up going bishop d6 here. Knight c6 check. King c7. Knight takes d8. Bishop takes e5. About to be down in exchange, but at least I'm trying to get as many pawns as I can. He takes knight e6, knight e6. So here I spend some time trying to think, okay, what is my setup? So what happens after rook d8? I am able to put the knight on c5. You might say, well, hold on, rook d1, right? But then I can take here. Basically, I'm forcing my opponent to make a choice. Okay, if you want to go b3, then that's going to give me a temper. Rook d3 was a mistake because it walks into knight c5. To my surprise, I still don't understand why, but my opponent in this position after rook e1 did not move rook f4. He played bishop d3. I don't know what he saw here that I didn't see, but for some reason he played here. I instantly take on f3. He takes on f3 with a king. And here was where I made a mistake. I end up taking. This is fine. This is where I made a mistake. I thought I'll be fine after rook takes rook. Here I was kind of just side with a relief. Also, what didn't help is that my team already secured the win in the match around this time. So I didn't feel like the pressure to play precisely here. But should I have taken the rook? No. So rook e3 was played. And after rook e3 here, my opponent took with the king. After making a move, I adjusted a piece. Okay? It wasn't my turn. I made a move, I adjusted the piece. To which my opponent very, not nicely, said to me, adjust at your own turn. I was like, okay, this is how we're gonna play. Okay, so here I really didn't want to lose because my opponent was being an asshole. I didn't do it on purpose. He was just an asshole. c6, bishop b6, bishop d5. I'm about to cut off my king, so I had to go back bishop d4, bishop e6. I go king d6. He goes bishop d7. I go king e7. He goes king e4. So bishop b6, really hard for me to do anything here, right? So here I just kept on playing. The only reason why I kept on playing was because of how my opponent acted previously. So I was like, okay, let me keep on playing this. So here, a6, c3, a7, b3, a8, b2, queen a3, king c2, here. So this is where the game ends. So patience, my friend. So this was game in round 3. Let's go into round 4 for the game that lasted over 100 moves. Okay, so I was playing with white this time, and I was playing against National Master Eric Cook, and it was a very important match for us because we were playing against one of the strongest teams. They were a high rated team. Well, let's see it. It was a clash of the leaders. And here I played e4, e6, d4, d5. We go into the French. So bishop b4, e5. So this is all theory. c5, a3, takes, knight e7. White's king looks pretty open, right? But white does have some ideas. So I'm interested in if white can hold this, then they're probably going to be better. So queen d2 was played. He takes queen g5. I go queen h8 check. King d7. I go rook h5. And I go f6, attacking the knight. The knight doesn't have many squares. Knight g6, I'll take and go f5. Knight d7, computer says. Queen f7, there's king c6, the king escapes. If you bring the rook and take with the rook, the king doesn't escape. Because this is the rook and the queen working together. But none of that happened in the game, because I went for this instead. So I thought, okay, I'm crushing him here, right? Rook b1. He does go king c5. And weirdly enough, the king kind of holds. He goes rook a7 here. And here I could have won. And I realized this two moves later, because I made a different move here. Rook a7. So very interesting move. Because if I go something like a5 here, rook b7, and black kind of tries to hold here. So here, with a few minutes I had left and the, my seconds just slipping away through my fingers, I made a move queen d4. Different moves I can make here, right? I can even simplify queen c3, So I played queen f4 here. The idea was, okay, I was running out of time, I needed to make a move. Queen f4 was what I thought was interesting. So he checks me, go king g3, and he ends up taking. So takes on g2. He went rook h1, to which I went f8. The thing is, you gotta be careful here, because if you go here, then you can get it to check, and the king is cut off, and he's defending. So I get a queen, he takes, and I go king e6. And here my opponent tried to test me. Okay, will I be able to make a draw if I have a knight versus a rook? Again, he's in a must-win situation. He escapes the checks. Okay, then I go the other way. 50 moves later, and I'm discovers the 50-move rule. I made the note in my score sheet. Okay, you guys can see it right here. Let me show you guys. Actually, right here, I made a little plus thingy, and I put on number 1 because this was the back of my score sheet. And I started writing down 1, 2, 3. So we're about right here. So I was waiting for the 50 moves. I was counting. I was ready. Knight e3. My opponent goes king c6. I go king f4. And this is where my opponent gave up. And then rook d3. King d3, and we shook hands. This was it. Going into the last round, our team has won all of our matches. We had 4 out of 4. I had 2.5 out of 4 personally, but my team was doing great. It was a very important round going for us, right? And everything was on the line. So what happened? Well, I was playing with black against an opponent. I'm not gonna disclose my opponent's name. My opponent goes e4, and I decided to go for Caro. I go c6, d4, d5. Here my opponent goes f3. This was early in the game again. Very, we had very close positions in all very close matchups in all 4 of our boards. So f3. Now, I've not seen this position maybe ever. I don't know. I'd never really studied these lines after f3, so I didn't really know what to do. Apparently, there are some ideas of queen b6, not necessarily right away, but there are ideas that you can take, and go e5, and this is what I thought during the game. And I thought, well, okay, takes, e5, there's knight f3, and I thought, okay, well, I didn't know these lines, and I thought, oh, okay, well, this is probably the most critical one. Takes, e5, knight f3, and I was like, okay, I'm not ready for these. I've heard now that there are 2 moves here, bishop g4 and bishop e6, but this is kind of the line. I was like, well, you wouldn't want to take on d4 because of bishop c4. And, all these complications, knight f6, castle. I mean, you got to be very careful here. So the plan is I want to be able to go c5, but then there's knight b5. Go a6, knight f3. I go queen c7 first before pushing c5, because if c5 takes, then I actually might need to, need to fight for the pawn, to get the pawn back. So queen c7, bishop e2 was played, c5. Here white decides to castle long, basically saying I'm ready for war. So rook c7, c3 was played. I take on a2. Here I spent like good 20 minutes. Actually, I can see I spent 22.5 minutes here. 22.5 minutes later, I end up playing rook e7. Actually, never mind. End up playing knight a5. Knight a6 is not possible, forcing the bishop to go on d1, and I go rook e7 now. Well, my opponent takes on h5, as I predicted, and I go knight b3 check. Bishop takes, only move. I take with a pawn, and it looks like I'm hanging a bishop, right? Knight g7, but I'll be able to get it back because of the pin. I first play knight c4 to attack the bishop. He goes rook e1, and here my opponent makes a mistake. Okay, you know, queen f3 is great move. Queen comes back. That's it. You know, lost. Bishop d2 was played by my opponent, which gives me a little chance. Go queen a1, threatening the checkmate, but this, you know, point my opponent also didn't have too much time left. King d1 was played. Rook b1 check. King e2. So even despite all of that, you know, white is still winning. Queen g6. King c3. I play king b7, and after rook b2, the game ended. Not a nice loss, because I looked over at Ezra's games, and he was not doing well. He was losing in his game. Okay, so again, just to recap, the score in the match is 1.5 to 1.5 because I lost this game. Because all the different mistakes that were played, but also I think the most significant one at the end here was not finding knight a3. Let me show you guys the position in which I saw Ezra. Okay, and they kept on dancing around for about another 15 moves of just dancing around and around and around until eventually the draw was declared. Not declared, agreed on. Draw was agreed upon, and that we won the tournament. But it also meant that Ezra missed his flight because the game just kept on going and going and going, and by the time we would have left, not even picking up the prizes, not even relaxing for a single thing, he missed his flight. We had to buy another flight right there, right after his game. Okay, but here's what I told Ezra after this. As soon as he finished his game, because he realized he was late, I was like, dude, you're not making it. I told him, here's an option. Here's, you know, what we're gonna do. This is the flight. I told him, what I will do is I would like to host a 24-hour stream with all of proceeds going to Mr. Ezra. So on your right, you can see a beautiful poster for the upcoming 24-hour stream. I was gonna say never done before, but it was done before. I did it back in 2020. There was no 24-hour stream in 2021. And guess what? Ezra Fun, February 20th on a Sunday. It's gonna be going through Sunday night through Monday. Yours truly is not working that Monday, so guess what? We're gonna fucking do it. We're gonna do some chess versus chat. We're gonna play some poker on stream. We're gonna play words on stream. We're also gonna play video games. We're gonna play some horror games. Guess what? I'm gonna try to play them with a girlfriend, scare the shit out of her. Very excited. Very, very looking forward to it. I'm sure there are gonna be some more ideas. I'm gonna try to do as much preparation as I can for this time, and it should be a great time. We're gonna have a couple guests on stream. It'll be amazing, amazing. You know, I know you guys been asking for it, and I think this is a perfect opportunity.